All right, guys, good afternoon. This is Christian Farmer. It's Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your end of day recap for April 2nd. Today was a bit more of a bounce day. So, we'll go over the technicals and the indices. We'll also go over a bunch of 1 hour charts, right? I've been looking at about five or six different symbols and watching them continue to like get up to resistance, like they're going to break out for the week, and they've been getting basically rejected at resistance. However, towards the end of the day, I saw a couple names start to kind of break higher. We're getting these crazy intraday moves. The last couple days it seems like we're getting a little bit of a bounce in the afternoon, and then we're getting profit taking. It seems like before, Cuomo's having these speeches every day, and it seems like nobody really wants to wear a lot of risk into these speeches, as well as they come out with the New York, New Jersey numbers, every day around like 11 to 12 o'clock. So I don't know if that's the reason why we're seeing like a pretty nice bounce in the morning, and then it just completely fizzles. It makes it a little bit difficult to trade as well. Like, even though I've been talking about how there's been, an abundant amount of day trading opportunities, but you got to be quick. And if you're adding at the wrong time, it can be painful, and I've been going through that as well. I had some really nice trades work this morning, and then you get a little bit greedy, right? It happens. It's one of those things that you have to kind of fight with every day. Putting on that last trade as we're bouncing sometimes is a difficult situation. I was actually in IBB biotech and hit it perfectly. And then I kind of went in. I said, okay, it's pulled back a little bit. I'm going to go back into this. And then the second trade didn't work out too well. And then it ended up rallying at the end of the day. So, it's one of those things where being comfortable with, catching a couple nice winners and not getting greedy can really make your day either be, very good or just a kind of average or so, right? Depending if you're forcing a little bit too many trades. And that's something that we've been talking about, a lot in the trading room, right? So, for example, I'll go through all my trades as well, but, here's my commentary. I've been trying to provide that guidance to say, hey, you could try to short here if you like as well. This was the yeah, I said, even though I just this was at 11:53. This was the second IBB trade that I added, and I said, I will remind you that we are now in the midday zone, which has been very difficult. These middays, I guess, is the conclusion of what I'm trying to say, is that these middays have been very difficult to have trades on. It's just too choppy. And again, I'm trading mostly stock. If you're trading options, it's going to be a nightmare through trading around that chop. So one of the things to look at in the S&P futures, there's not a lot to say that we have really taken back today. Remember, even though we're up 2.86% today in the S&P futures, we're still around where we were yesterday, and yesterday was a bigger decline than yesterday. So we're in this value area. So there's not many conclusions. So I think you just have to continue to be open. We'll look at Qs as well here. Qs are also just smack in the middle of value, and kind of just wait to see some things, confirm what direction that they're going into, right? Meaning a break higher or a break lower. We haven't done either yet, right? Even though yesterday was a mess, we have really not broken the value area for the week in Qs or S&P. IWM might be a little bit different. I haven't been looking at this one. This one's also in value, right? So explore the top of value failed. Also, the bottom of value failed. We're in value for the week. So that's it. So here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. Some things are starting to kind of perk up. So IBB did close above value for the day. Again, this was a nice day trade for me. The first one. Second one, not so much. Um, but again, I give you the winners and the losers, right? So this was yesterday, this is today. That was my first trade, and again, I laid that out perfectly, for where I wanted to get out of it. It was a quick scalp trade. CTSX also worked really well. I caught that on the pop. Was able to take this target at 145. It's a name that has been breaking out, so I like to play it whenever it comes into a little bit of support. I even played a little bit of Q's hedges because I thought that we were falling back into value for the day, and that worked. I made a little bit of money on the Q on the Q hedge, right, which is down here. And again, not being greedy with the hedges either, because I don't want to get caught in this end this end of day, whatever you want to call it. If it's a squeeze, I don't know what you want to call. SE was a name that I put on yesterday. Hit a target in that one too. Again, want to get that first target in there, and then I did add a little bit of Apple for a small swing at the end of the day. So IBB breaking above value. Another name that I've been watching like a hawk over the last week, basically since Friday, is this TMO. This TMO actually closed above value. So again, this doesn't mean that it's going to rip to the upside, but it just means that you basically you've got a level to trade against that is nearby, which is 284. Home Depot, which has basically been owning me the last couple of days, has been very difficult to trade. If we switch over to the 5 minute bar, it's been, showing, a little bit of perkiness, and then it just stalls out. And I bought on this bar, and I basically got stopped out of it. But it's trying to come alive, and I think you just have to be patient with it. In hindsight, again, always sharing with you guys what I do a little bit incorrectly. Leave yourself a couple room to add. Because again, this thing never really broke the bottom of value. So, instead of going in like one big piece, which is what I did in Home Depot today, leave yourself room to kind of scale into it, even if it's a day trade, because, the tape is giving you the ability to kind of get out profitably if you're a little bit more patient and if you're sizing your trades correctly. This one I did not size correctly, and I got spooked out of the trade. If I would have scaled into it, which has been working much better when I do that, this would have been a nice trade. But again, this one's on the radar. Apple as well. Hasn't I really haven't participated much in Apple recently, but maybe it can make a move from 245 to 258. Right, I think that would be interesting as well. Microsoft is one of those names too, right? Got rejected at the 50-day moving average, right? But sometimes these things, they get rejected, but then they can come back to life. Like, it doesn't mean it's game over necessarily for the stock. Maybe this could see a move back to 158, which is not that big of a move, but it is trying to at least get above. Maybe you could see could be setting up for like a very small, day trade. I thought this was a little bit further up, but I guess not for Microsoft. Yeah, top of value is 158.61. So we'll kind of see how that works. I'm still long some leaps. I've been managing that one appropriately, I think, so far, taking profits and rolling out profits and so on and so forth. So that's a couple names. I'm not going to go too much further. Walmart. I always have a lot of alerts set. They were going bonkers. This could be an interesting name for tomorrow. Closed right at the top of value in Walmart. This was a name that saw a lot of call activity over the last couple of weeks. So trying to break higher. Costco was another one that I got an alert at the end of the day. This thing looked like it almost wanted to break down just a few days ago, but it's fighting back to the 200-day moving average. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. A little bit of a shorter video because every video this week I've had has been super long. So a little bit shorter. Again, take things one day at a time. Be very flexible. Make adjustments, and you can make it through this market. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow.